So I've been playing Moon Remix Adventure RPG. Remix it? Remix RPG Adventure. Could you fucking knock it off? It's really goddamn annoying when you do that, Goku. Like, people live here. Just go home. Have a nap. Come on, no. I didn't mean it like that. God damn it, Goku. Man, we're getting a lot of those wacky non-J JRPGs lately, huh? Shit was cool when Off and Lisa did it. ThorHighHeels seems special as fuck, and Undertale was pretty neat and had big normie appeal, which is pretty atypical for games of its ilk, as, well, Earthbound may often be cited as an inspiration now and went on to be a cult classic. Back when that shit actually dropped, no one wanted none to do with its weirdo stanky ass. And similarly, other odder JRPGs never even got localized in the first place, would sell equally as poorly or wouldn't really fit our idea of what an RPG constitutes. Linda Cubed, Kowloon's Gate, Contact, Tomba, Sengoku Turb, Okage, Shadow King, Kaudelka, and those Tingle games all stand as titles that took the JRPG formula and subverted it in a big way in some way. Whether it be thematically, tonally, settingally, gameplayingly, or all of the above, they're cooler, edgier games that make up for their slight jank or hard to get intonness with just how special they truly be. All of them too serve this inspo for the coming wave of what many have been calling Earthbounders, cause, I don't know, fuck those games I guess, it's the only one people really know. I suppose there is Tulip. That game got localized and replaced its combat with kissing, which I don't think I need to tell you how that subverses the needlessly combative nature of general JRPG structural contrivances. It's just that it was also a hard-ass, mean-ass, obtuse-ass, tedious-ass motherfucker to actually play, and by Western standards, more easily lumped in with adventure titles than RPGs, because, I don't know, that's just how we be. Nah, you need more obvious signifiers to let people know what you're doing. Like, maybe begin the game within an actual RPG? Have you play as a generic knight, playing sardonic meme battles and have people react to you ransacking their shit. Make it clear that doing what JRPG protags do is weird and antisocial, and then flip the script around by making you play as someone other than the main protagonist or hero, and then have you clean up their slack, suffer their wrath, see the death and destruction that their random anking bitch ass has left behind, and get bumped into like the seen as insignificant NPC that you are. Now, reason that I brought up Tulip is because Moon is a game by the same developer. Well, kinda. See, Love-de-Lic made Moon and 2 other games, after which they shut down, spread around, and morphed into many smaller, tinier studios, one of which made Tulip, all collaborating, sharing members, and above all, a common style and philosophy. One about overcoming's life bullshit, as hard as it is, and spreading love to those around you to do just that. Whether if it's Tulip Child pecking a mean smooch, Tingle trying to get his nut off, Chibi Robo connecting people through his electric love, or literally creating life itself in LOL. Although, in Tulip, you're much quicker to actually die a whole lot or have to spend hours waiting than spreading that love ASAP, and Tingle is often seen as ugly or weird and is rejected. And Chibi Robo has to do tons of mundane, kind of boring housework, and LOL, I mean, look at it. Does this look like a straightforward fucking game to you? You gotta work to spread those posy vibes. Not to say some life is hard, chin up, sunny boomer shit, but to say that it's exactly that boomer shit, be it shitty societal systems, preconceptions and biases, or the boring day-to-day structures that people get locked into, that keep the love from spreading proper. That is the ethos set down by Love-de-Lic and all of the wonderful studios and titles that spawned from it. And with Moon being the OG, it carries that ethos to a T. The T standing for Thor, as they made it just for me. Because I too would rather befriend the hypothetical Dragon Quest slime than kill its shit, but RPG conventions dictate that that is what you do. And to this, Moon says no. As you play as a boy, sucked into the telly, fallen from sky and left behind in a world that is not his own. A JRPG world in which there is a grave terror, which, as I hinted at, is the main protagonist in his conventions, traditions, and bullshits who you ate. And so, the majority of the game consists out of you actually helping people and patching up the supposed monsters he so ruthlessly trashed. Spreading vibes, not violence. However, this does mean that its gameplay centers almost wholly around walking in between text boxes and doing fetch quests, which would have been pretty simple and maybe even a bit dull if time itself didn't fucking kill you. Yeah, that's right, you're on the clock, and the clock does not fuck around. Your main goal is to gather love by doing good deeds for people and reviving monsters. At the end of the day, your love gets tallied up, through which you will grow stronger so one can stay up later and longer. It's a lot like Tulip, only instead of health, it's time. Days be short, time moves fast, stores be opening and closing, motherfuckers be walking about doing their dailies, i.e. you're always on the clock, waiting for the one thing, rushing to make it to the other, observing shit, learning who be where and when, trying to catch all of the daily events and monster appearances, slowly becoming a part of that cozy small town life. And where this easily could have been really stressful and tedious always, it's only kinda stressful and tedious sometimes. As shit's comfy and sweet enough to never get on nerves ever. And also, due to the many moving character cogs cogging at the same time, you'd never not end up doing no nothing. It's wholly possible, and likely, to randomly bump and stumble in and onto shit, as many of the timed events seem more like planned events, even though you only saw it because you just happened to be there. As literal as the time system is, it never really feels as if you're gaming it. It's very naturally integrated into every aspect of the game, with even the smallest of touches, conditioning one into treating time and waiting as important. Like, even the rocks require patience rather than smash. They be shy, you see. Hanging around one for too long will make them anxious, thus moving out of your way. It takes a chunk out of your day, sure, but it's also just cute enough and used sparingly enough to where it was more than happy to take the hit. By far, its biggest benefit, though, is its pacing. I don't want to, make too many more comparisons, as that's what I already started out with, but the game does use more or less the exact same gameplay loop and structure as Tulip, with the only difference being that Tulip was very slow. You had to do some scathing sitting, and progress did not come easy, but here I'm getting shit donezo. As also, unlike Tulip, you aren't punished for curiosity. The world is far bigger, and the monster things add many a stuffage, meaning that you don't really have days pass by in which nothing happened. I always bumped into at least one or two monster ghosts that I could save, or bought an item I figured may help me later, or happened onto some time of day and day specific event. In general, Moon isn't even remotely as obtuse or tedious as Tulip could be, even at the best of times. Thing is, as well, is that its day cycle has actual days, as shown by each's unique little icon, all with their own sets of routines for each character, which will also change, shift, and progress as you do just that to the game. It's a world that's always evolving, and as a result, always rewarding too. Spreading the love doesn't just feel good because you get more heart points, giving way to more time and also blatant money bag, but also because, that you've helped this world along and potentially just unlocked a whole host of new things for you to do too on top of what was already there. Now, granted, Tulip did this as well, but the game was more about depressing people in depressing places, and so shit was a far rougher climb to the love top. It was deliberate and thematically appropriate as all hell, certainly, but on that note, Moon is a game about cute shit. Sure, people have their issues, but the tone is far more lighthearted, and even the game's darker underbelly tends to stay more within the cartoon troubles realm, like the pop idol The Bee longing to be, or the guy who takes psychedelic drugs 24/7 just having a gay old time. You don't have to convince a starving artist locked into a dead-end wage slave 9-to-5 worker bee job cycle to kiss you directly on the lips. You just gotta buy Granny some bread, set yourself on fire while wearing wearing a fursuit or do the God quiz. After that, the very real, tangible progress that you make, like getting a new house, being able to travel further and further distances across this sweet little JRPG world, meeting all kinds of fun folks, and forwarding the titular time routine in days. It's all pretty cute and neat and cute and nice, which also echoes throughout the game's entire design, tone, and, well, everything, really. So Moon's translation and localization was done by Tim Rogers of Action Button, formerly of Kotaku.com and creator of Truckheck. And that man has a very standout way of speaking and writing, which you can defo feel a little bit at times. People saying heck and bubby, and the flower lady making an FF7 reference, or I'll buy. I love it, and while I can't read the Japanese text for myself, I have played Tulip and Contact and know the Tingle games decently well, and can thus say that shit's certainly tonally faithful as fuck, regardless of whether if it's literally faithful as fuck, which ain't really what localization is about anyway. Writing's really strong though in either case. All characters have distinct characteristics, quirks, and text-based mannerisms, be it catchphrases, implied accents, and harshly textualized attitude, or just letters go wacky. Everyone's just super funny and nice. Yeah. Also, weird shit like this will happen to you. Everything about this here is perfect. From the choice of words to how the lines are paced and dished out to the hilariously fitting voice mumble and how he slowly slides out from behind a tree and then skirts off later. It's some good fucking shit. Moon essentially plays like a collage of wacky adventures and funny scenarios. From flying high in a birdcage and getting roofied by monkeys on an island that time has forgotten, to getting eaten by a ghost painting and needing to give the ghost within the ghost painting some bread so you can get shit flushed out of the toilet one room down. The game's full of these memorable little vignettes that are elevated to ooh status by the excellent writing and characters. That monkey thing is one thing, for example, but it's also hosted by this rather depressed islander dude who keeps being all like, oh no, my god, you're so good, I'm so worthless, which then pushes it over the edge and makes it extra memorable. Similarly, less one-offy characters will have whole little arcs, like the comic book writer who you inspire, the knight whom you make more confident, and many others what I don't wish to spoil. It's like, as neat as all of these moments are on their own, it is the greater whole of general growth that they and you contribute to over the course of your adventure that make them truly great. And that's not even getting into the stories Moon tells without text that you get from simply observing folks. Watching the fisherman go to bed, wake up, set up his banners, catch bait, fish, and so on. Or how you can peep the shopkeep using his little elevator to go up or down and smoke into pipe at night. Their routines aren't just scripts, they have little tales all their own, playing out custom tailored to each and every day. And while that is wholesome, your invisible boy ass may also begin to feel as if you are just an observer sometimes. Certainly a bit like you don't quite belong here, even if just cause how strange and alien everything in Moon seems to be. Cause, I mean, by the time you find out that the bread being served comes from a bread man's breadhead, it's safe to say that this place ain't regular. Adding to this is the type of voice mumble that they decided to use, being scrambled together from what I can only assume to be old public domain black and white movies. It's a whole barrage and cornucopioid of off-kilter noises and voices that drench the game in a surreality made palpable and playable by how Moon atmospheres as well. For instance, as I mentioned back when Japan only, the music is diegetic, with characters reacting to it or you hearing shop themes come from the shops, and there's also this cool Walkman thingy. This already straddles the line really well between creating a believable immersive vibe with a strong sense of artificiality and fourth walllessness. A everything fits but nothing ain't really as it should be type of feel, which, granted, is pretty much par for the course with any video game really, but it's rare to see it evoked with so much deliberacy and purpose as it is here, because, well, the visuals are utilizing both CGI pre-renders of the lower-fi instantly uncanny 90s varieties, actual sprites with great art by Kazuyuki Kurashima and his twisted fairy tale-esque by way of Japan character designs, and fucking claymation, which pretty much instantly makes shit feel alien because it's claymation. And what's cool as well is that while one wouldn't think that any of these shits that jive together, they actually really do. It's consistent. The monsters and everything related to them is claymay, the people are all sprites, and the backgrounds are always CG with the usual nice lighting and composed frames, but also a very distinct style all their own with tons of big, bold, rounded edges and bright cartoony colors tying it together perfectly. It's a great look, for real, that goes hand in hand with its music and writing to, once again, hammer home that cool contrast coinciding cozy with uncanny and artificial with artsy. It's great, and given how much there is as well, boasting anything from tropical islands and haunted mansions to dense jungles and sweeping deserts all filled to the brim with the prior mentioned vignettes and characters, it never made me not excited to find out what the next screen transition could hide. Anyway, all of this is all well and great, but I do feel that I should say that Moon is a bit of a guide game. With Tulip, they knew this, and thus made the Manual a guide, and while the Manual of Moon is very helpful, given that the game tells you fuck all in regards to what any of this shit means, it doesn't tell you a whole lot else neither, nor was it included with the Switch release. Luckily, the devs made it public on a drive link, which I will link to in the pinned comment, as well as the guide that I used, cause you're defo gonna need it. You see, a lot of things only is on specific days as stated, but figuring out what is on those specific days and when on them is left up in the air. Granted, you can get bare hints by just chatting about and exploring, but time is limited, so you can't always do that too well. A good example of why guidage is as good as is by this bit here, in which I decided to look around the castle at night and caught the homie here having an oop at the sheer side of me. With intrigue and curiosity, I ran down the hall behind him, only to find jack shit. Now, my instinct here would be to head back on the next day around the same time, but a bit earlier. That's what would have worked in Tulip, or Shenmue, or Lightning Returns, or Majora's Mask mostly, but no. He only sneaks out on, once again, specific days. Which ones? Well, you're just gonna have to find out by checking in daily, thus wasting tons of time you could have spent doing other shit, or just quickly checking the hints guide that tells you which days he sneak, but not much else. You can still get the aesthetics of figuring shit out while staving away the tedium. And trust me, it's worth finding out why he's sneaking. And that's just one example of where using a guide saves you time. I ain't even gonna get into the mild discomfort I felt when committing a whole day to doing one thing only to find out that I was too babby to stay awake long enough. This is one of those rare games where I can confidently say that guided is the right way, as going in raw could either see you missing out on some of the coolest shit or leave you frustrated, waiting, and loveless. Though, aside from that, I hope that I was able to convey just how cute, fun, and special Moon truly is, and also how influential it was. I kinda dislike, sorta, how the marketing now be all like, the game that inspired Undertale. But that said, if you do like Undertale, or Lisa, or Hylics, or Off, and certainly if you like Tulip, the Tingle games, or Contact, then you'll probably get a lot out of this one too, as it has all kinds of major and minor things in common with these legendary, quirky, and unique JRPGs. Well, if you're finally done yelling, I'm gonna go back to bed. Okay. Bye.